The warrior is a dexterity class all about speedy attacks and showing off their two weapons. Who needs shields and blocking, am I right? Let's talk about the warrior class. This class guide series is a quick beginner setups to get you going in Elden Ring and specific classes that you can then develop freely throughout your playthrough. We'll start with character creation. Now, as a warrior, you start out at soul level 8. Your primary stat here is dexterity. You start out with the highest dexterity. So if you're looking to make a dex build, this is the best class to start with, more or less. There are some other options. We do have a very low vigor, which is a bad thing because we will take damage with this build with not really using a shield or blocking ever. And we also have a little bit of endurance, but again, also low. Pretty much all of our points go into dexterity here, and we do start out at soul level 8, so a little bit lower level than some of the other classes. The starting gear for the warrior is the 2 scimitars. You also get the wooden shield, but you can just throw that in the bin, like we're never going to use that, just get rid of it, who cares. And the blue cloth armor or warrior set, which is okay. It's pretty light, it gives some okay resistances, but I would be recommending to replace this as soon as possible. For your flasks, everything goes into health, and obviously start out with the keepsake golden seed. Now, how to play the warrior is it's the only starting class that begins with 2 weapons in this way. When you're equipping 2 weapons of the same type, you get an extra attack on your L1, which will use both of the weapons at the same time, so you get extra attack animations or combos with these weapons. It actually deals more damage than the typical R1, so you want to be using this very regularly. I wouldn't recommend this class for completely new players, as it is a bit of a higher learning curve because you're not really going to be doing a whole lot of blocking. I mean, you can't block if you're wielding the 2 weapons, you are instead getting those extra attacks. You're also going to have to dodge a lot, learn enemy attacks, and avoid that damage rather than actually blocking it or getting rid of it in some other way. For the most part, the general flow of combat for you is using the jump attack to close distance and using the L1 attack on the jump. So you use both of your weapons, deal damage, and then move your way back out. Use the jump attack, move around the enemy, don't just stand in front of them, get some backstabs, play around with them, and then use these attacks freely. I would also recommend to grab a bow or some other ranged weapon like the Kukrai, a way to pull enemies to you. There are going to be areas where there's lots of enemies in a space and you don't want to aggro them all at once in a build like this where we don't actually have a whole lot of health and we don't really block at all. So you want to have a way to pull enemies to you to avoid taking a whole pack at once. And the Ash of War you start out with on both of the scimitars, the spinning slash is very slow, and I would recommend to replace this as soon as possible. I like Stormblade because Stormblade gives you a little bit of ranged, so you can damage from distance, and it's actually much faster than spinning slash, and spinning slash is kind of useless when you can do so much more damage just by pressing L1 with both of the weapons. Your attributes for this build primarily are going to be dexterity, and then you want to pump some points into vigor to increase your health and endurance so you can have more stamina for those rolls and dealing damage back at enemies that you may use. You may want to put a couple of points into strength if you're going to switch out from the scimitars to something that's a bit heavier, but for the most part, scimitars will get you by. I'll give you some other options when we get into this next section about gear, which we may as well start right now. You can buy a bow from the vendor along the beach near the coastal cave. They will give you a short bow. They've also sell some arrows, but you can craft your own arrows with using bone arrows, but this is where you can get a bow pretty much straight off the bat for 600 runes. You should absolutely look for better armor, or you can even just purchase better armor. At the Castle Morn Ramparts, there is a vendor here that will sell you scale armor, which has similar weight to the starting warrior armor, but has much better physical negation on its armor pieces, so you could pick up the armor here, and just make sure you stay in that medium load so you've got the normal roll rather than the fat roll. The Ash of War vendor, where you can buy the Stormblade or even other Ash of Wars, is at the War Master's Shack. It's a little bit past the gate front, so go up there and buy the Stormblade when you've got some runes to spare. It's probably not necessary to grab it straight away, but it's well worth going up there and grabbing it once you've got runes to spare. And if you don't really like the scimitars, you can get the Twin Blade, which is a really, really good weapon early in game. You have the stats to equip this pretty much straight out the gate. You can use this as a 1 or a 2-handed weapon, and it has a great attack moveset either way, and it's a great option. If you don't like the scimitars, you just want to go like a 1-handed route, maybe have a shield or even just 2-hand the Twin Blade, great option to have. The downside to the scimitars is that you're going to have to upgrade them separately at the smithing table. Because you're using 2 weapons, you're going to have to smith them both separately, so keep that in mind when you are upgrading your weapons. Check out my Elden Ring mistakes video, which goes through tons of tips and tricks to get you started in Elden Ring, which is a perfect video to watch after this. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is {Nausa}, and I hope you have a great day.